The first time I came to Song Wat, I thought I had discovered one of Bangkok's coolest streets. I saw old shophouses, hidden cafés, street art, and creative spaces appearing behind weathered doors. But coolness is only the surface, because underneath the coffee, the murals and the photographs is another Song Wat, a system built to move goods, a system held together by families, a system in which architecture, food, faith, and trade have been quietly supporting one another for generations. So I came back with a different question, not simply, what can I see here, but what is keeping this place alive? The last time I walked through Song Wat, I followed whatever caught my attention. This time, I'm trying to follow something less visible, the connections between things. Every functioning neighborhood has two versions. There is the version we photograph, its facades, food, colors, and atmosphere. Then there is the version that makes all of that possible, its roots, relationships, routines, and unwritten rules. Song Wat becomes much more interesting when you stop seeing it as a trendy street and begin reading it as a living machine. And the first part of that machine is not the road, it is the river. Before Song Wat was a destination, it was infrastructure. The road was laid out during the reign of King Rama V, after fires in the crowded Sampheng trading area created a need for new roads and better access. Its name is usually translated as the King Drew, from the story that the king personally marked its route on a map. But what mattered most was where that line was drawn. Song Wat followed the Chao Phraya river. That placed warehouses, merchants, and markets beside what was then one of Bangkok's most important transport networks. Boats brought goods towards the city. The piers received them. Warehouses held them. Merchants distributed them. And narrow streets carried them towards the markets of Chinatown. Song Wat did not become commercially important because it happened to be beside the river. It was designed around the movement the river made possible. Road transport has changed the way Bangkok moves. Many of the boats and trading patterns that created this district are no longer as dominant as they once were, but the old logic remains visible: the direction of the alleys, the depth of the buildings, the position of the warehouses, even the way goods still spill from shop fronts onto the pavement. The river may no longer power Song Wat in quite the same way, but it rode the street's original operating system. There is one alley in Song Wat that reveals the neighborhood's transformation more clearly than almost anywhere else. Walk through it today and you pass cafés, street art, independent studios, and creative spaces, all positioned along a narrow route leading directly towards the Chao Phraya river. At first, it feels like a newly created cultural quarter, but the alley itself was not designed for cafés, galleries, or visitors. Its direction tells an older story. This was once a walking connection between Song Wat's warehouses and the river, a route through which goods could arrive, be stored, and then move onwards into Bangkok. Today, many of those buildings are still being used, but what happens inside them has changed. Coffee is now prepared where stock may once have been stored. Artists work behind doors originally built for merchants. Warehouse walls that once defined commercial space have become canvases for murals, exhibitions, and new forms of expression. Inside one of the art studios, I found another layer to this transformation. Behind the gallery was Maseng Records, a vinyl record shop occupying the same converted space. One old storage building was no longer serving a single purpose. It had become an art studio, a record shop, and a place where different creative communities could meet. The building had not been discarded simply because its original commercial function had faded. Instead, its existing space had been used more imaginatively. The same structure now supports several experiences, several businesses, and several reasons for people to enter. This is not simply an old warehouse with a fashionable business placed inside it. It is a more intelligent use of the same footprint. The shell remains. The purpose expands, and a space once designed to store physical goods now stores music, art, ideas, and cultural memory. That is what makes this alley so important to understanding modern Song Wat. It has not stopped functioning. It has simply changed what it carries. Where merchandise once flowed between the river and the city, people, creativity, and new forms of commerce now travel through the same passage. The architecture survived because it was flexible enough to be reused. Large interiors became galleries. Open-fronted storage spaces became cafés. Industrial walls became canvases. And a single warehouse could become both an art studio and a destination for discovering vinyl. The past has not disappeared from this alley. It is still determining the shape, movement, and possibilities of the present. Check out this vintage lamp. From the pavement, Song Wat's old shophouses appear decorative. Ornamental moldings, wooden shutters, faded paint, Chinese signs that have remained above the same doors for decades. But these buildings were never created simply to be admired. They were designed to work. The front connected the business to the street. The deeper interior provided space for stock, preparation, or storage. Upper floors allowed family life to exist above the trade below. Commerce, storage, and home were compressed into a single structure. This helps explain something important about Song Wat. The neighborhood did not originally separate life into carefully controlled zones. Work was not somewhere you traveled to and then left behind. It happened beneath the rooms where families slept. Customers entered through the same threshold that connected generations to the street. Knowledge was transferred not through formal training programs, but by watching, repeating, and eventually taking responsibility. These buildings therefore stored more than merchandise. They stored habits, relationships, skills, and memory. Trade does not survive simply because products move efficiently. It survives because trust moves with them. From outside, a traditional wholesale business may appear simple. Sacks arrive, orders are placed, goods leave. But behind every transaction is knowledge that is difficult to photograph. Who supplies consistently? Who pays reliably? Which ingredient is best? When prices are changing, which customer needs something urgently? and whose word can be trusted. A building can be purchased, a business can be copied, but a reputation accumulated over decades cannot be installed overnight. This may be Song Wat's most valuable hidden infrastructure, not its walls, not its murals, not even its location, but the relationships that allow people to keep operating within it. A neighborhood is not merely a collection of buildings. It is a network of people who remember what they owe one another. And when those relationships disappear, preserving the facades alone cannot preserve the culture.
We'll come back. Whoa.
จะมาร้องตามนะมันมีซ้อนให้
Ah.
ช้อนให้ช้อนเขาหน่อยให้เขายืมก่อนเนี่ยโอ้กระจกแล้ว
นี่
ไม่เอาช้อนคืนแม่เดือน
Very soft.
อร่อยอร่อย
Very good.
Very good. Soft.
อร่อยมาก
I didn't know you could eat young coconuts. Can you?
Song Wat matters now because cities across the world are struggling with the same choice. Preserve the past so rigidly that it can no longer function, or modernize so aggressively that nothing meaningful remains. Song Wat suggests that there may be another path. A place can change its purpose without surrendering its memory, but only when we understand which parts of the system are essential. The buildings matter, but so do the people who know how to use them. The recipes matter, but so do the supply chains and families that keep repeating them. The religious sites matter, but so do the everyday acts of respect surrounding them. And creative renewal matters, but only when the people who created the neighborhood still have a place within its future. Perhaps identity does not come from remaining unchanged. Perhaps it comes from knowing what must not be lost while everything else is changing. That applies to streets, to cultures, and perhaps to us as well. Growing does not have to mean becoming unrecognizable. Sometimes the wisest form of progress is not to erase the previous version, but to give it a new way to remain useful. The first time I came to Song Wat, I saw a cool street. This time, I saw a form of intelligence, a river that shaped commerce, architecture that combined work and life, trust carried through generations, food preserving the memory of migration, and an old neighborhood learning how to speak to the future. Song Wat is not remarkable because it has avoided change. It is remarkable because so far, it has found ways to change without completely forgetting what it was built to do. And once you understand the hidden system beneath the street, you will never see it in quite the same way again. What ordinary-looking place in your own city contains a hidden system like this? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe to Cultural Wisdom as we uncover the histories, ideas and invisible forces that make places feel the way they do.